Welcome to the Latin Wealth Podcast, a podcast dedicated to educating the Latino community about entrepreneurship, investing, and business.
What's going on, Latin Wealth family? Welcome to another episode to Wealth Wednesday. Hopefully, you guys are having a blessed start of the year. Happy New Year's once again. You guys can't see it, but I actually still got my Christmas tree up. It's all my wife. She's like, I need another week with this thing up. I'm like, all
That's
right.
that's so true.
This got to be the last week, though. All right. So, anyways, we're gonna have a phenomenal conversation today. We're going to be talking about the Dominican Republic and its economic growth, tourism, trade, and their hospitality boom. You know, we talked about them multiple times throughout of 2024. We thought it'd be a good time to circle back and give you guys a recap on what's going on. And also, we had made a post 2 days ago and around this subject, and we had a lot of positive comments. We also had a lot of negative comments. We don't like to run from the smoke, so I want to read. We're gonna read some of those comments, maybe address some of what's being said, and we're gonna have a good time today. And we're not doing this in a way to like shame people by any means, but we want to give you guys perspective from both sides, like what people on the island are saying, what people in the mainland are saying about DR, and just give you different perspectives on and thoughts of what's going on, right? So, with that being said, Jeremiah, how you feeling, man? How you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like you need to stop snitching. Anyway, shouts out to sis. No,
Oh,
man, this is gonna be a good topic. We always have the best interactions when it comes to the cousins, I call it,
right.
Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. So it's gonna be another one of them ones. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's get it. So, look, we're gonna start off with the tourism driving the economic growth in Dominican Republic. So, if you guys didn't know, tourism accounted for a significant portion of the Dominican Republic GDP in 2024. Since a post-pandemic travel surge brought record visitors to the island, this boosted foreign exchange and the local economy. And so, what's behind the growth? The country has invested a lot more in infrastructure, such as airports, roads, and made improvements across the countries and visitors' experiences. So, we've been teasing an episode that's going to come out actually this Friday about a Puerto Rican man that lives in the Dominican Republic, and we had a conversation about him living out there, and he was talking about how there's a lot of development going on out there, especially in Punta Cana, where he resides. So, very interesting. What else is also helping is also aggressive marketing campaigns targeted by key markets like the United States and Europe for different people to come out and visit the Dominican Republic. So, what are your thoughts, man? What are your overall views on what's going on in DR, especially when it comes to tourism?
First and foremost, shouts out to Urban Teach. Um, Continuously dropping the information. One of our partners, obviously, much love for her.
Yeah,
Go out there doing your thing. She said it. I mean, I think it was like a year or so ago when you guys had your episode, but she predicted this. She said it was
yeah,
going to be the #1 place for tourism. I mean, it's beautiful, right? It's paradise. The exchange rate is beautiful. And also, I think that the amount of innovation and stuff that's going on in the Dominican Republic, as far as the government, should be that should be highlighted as well. They've been doing a lot of things to make DR safer. Uh,
hmm,
I mean, Punta Cana being such a beautiful resort within itself, they're trying to draw in um, actual partners, like corporate partners, that are going to make the island be successful and have things that would draw in tourism, the attractions and things like that. I think that honestly, as we continue to look to build, I can see a lot more Americans and Europeans as well start to move to the Dominican Republic because I don't know if we were talking about that. There's a lot of people because you're talking about the interview that you're going to have with a brother that's Puerto Rican but living in
hmm.
DR. But there's a lot of people that are just saying, you know what, I'm good on the States right now. Like I think I'm gonna just make this move and I'll figure the language part out and we'll make it work.
100%. And that's funny that you brought that up. And I'm gonna read off kind of what Urban Teach commented on the post. Basically, she said 11 million plus visitors in 2024, with a steady 5 year forecast fueling asset appreciation, expat living, veterans, and retiree first and second home destination. That's very interesting what she says there and what you just said, because I have a client of mine who also has a big podcast, and he interviewed somebody that's a U.S. veteran that moved to Dominican Republic for that same reason, and he was like, "Yo, this." He said it himself. This American dream that everybody's thinking of, it ain't what it cut out to be. I'm out here in DR. He got the Dominican Republic flag behind him, like he Dominican, like he in there. You know what I'm saying? Enjoying his life. And I remember in the interview, he was talking about like, "Yo, um, the, the way of life out here is completely different. It's better for my
Yeah,
mental health.
yeah.
It's cheaper. I'm eating, cleaner out here. It's just a
Yeah.
lot more benefits that people are just simply not aware of." And so that's interesting that you brought that up, and she left that in the comments as well.
I mean, I feel like always they're going to be, these are the positive aspects, which we always like to highlight the positives, which is coming over, learning the culture, right? Getting integrated into, I mean, I think it was maybe 2 months ago we talked about the Dominican Republic, them advancing on like renewable energy space, right?
Hmm.
They were trying to do an
Yeah.
underwater cable that was going to
Yeah.
run to Puerto Rico. So these are the things that they're doing. They are advancing and they're being innovative. That's the positive aspects of it. Now, a lot of the negative, people, we got some of that too, right? The negative about, we're just DR's being exploited
Yep.
and,
Yep. Yep.
all
Talk about
the
it.
things.
We can talk about it. Yeah, you can go there.
I mean, I want to talk about it because I think that there's solutions. I want to provide what I think maybe are
Let's do
possible
that.
solutions
Let's do
to these
that.
things. So yeah,
A
go
hundred
ahead.
percent. So we just to kind of slightly shift, there's people that were making comments on the post. We won't say her name. We respect everybody's opinions and thoughts. It's all good. Economic leakage doesn't resolve the money disparity and imbalance the local population faces. Jobs created by tourism still offers low wages. All right.
Well, first and foremost, that person is correct. This has long been an issue in any of the countries. Uh, Bad Bunny was talking about don't want to happen to PR happen in Hawaii,
Mm,
right? Any other the countries, any other places in the tropical area where you have one of the Western civilizations that come in and either colonize or take it over, you're gonna have that issue, right? There's an exchange rate. They're gonna pay the locals at a much lower rate because of the exchange rate. Well, what I said was, you got to talk to your local politicians and the lawmakers that are in that area and tell them, hey, here's part of it. This is paradise, but this is our country. And if you're going to come in, you probably want some subsidies. You probably want, certain things that are going to go your way for bringing in the tourism. You want money and you want us to give you things to do that. In order to do that, hey, you have to hire at least 75% locals, right?
mm,
And by the way, you have to pay them what they would earn to their US counterparts. And that has to be a law, right? That has to be something that the lawmakers they don't move from. They can't be bought. They can't be bribed. That's the biggest issue. And so you got to take that issue. That's a valid issue, but you got to take that. It's not the companies because the companies are going to do whatever you let them do, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the bottom line for them. If I can pay someone less, that's more money that goes to the shareholders or more money that
mm,
goes to the CEO or C-suite or whoever, right? That's what a company does. But it's up to the lawmakers and the local people to hold them accountable to say, hey, even if it's 90% of your workforce has to be locals, and you got to pay them like you would pay them in any U.S. state or wherever else you would have a resort. So I think that's a solution to that. Oh, easier said than done. It's really not actually. It's actually going and like writing and talking to the
mm.
al-Qaeda's and all the people, the senators and those people, and telling them like, hey, if these people are going to come in here and set up shop and we let them set up business, you got to make them hire us and pay us
Mm,
right.
mm.
I mean, what you think? Is that far fetched?
No, I don't think
I
it's
feel like
far
that's what
fetched
we're
at
gonna
all.
get.
Yeah, I think what you said. I think I love how you laid it out, but I think the the misstep, if that's the correct word, is what's the in between? How do people get to that point? So they're thinking, yes, that's a great idea, but they may think it's difficult to go to these different lawmakers and whatnot and
Cool.
demand this, right?
Cool. So what do you do? What you do is you get a group of the local workers, whether they maybe it's a couple of different resorts in that area.
Mm,
Punta Cana would be a great place to start, and you unionize. You have to get a group together. You guys create legally, right? That's
mm,
legal. You create your union and you say, hey, these are our demands. So that's another way, another backdoor way that you can go to start at least get things moving in the right direction. And now you put the pressure on the local politicians and stuff because the majority of their salary, tax paying, all that stuff comes from tourism if
mm.
they're in that area, right? So if the workers aren't working, the tourists aren't getting their services and then things start to
Right.
get right. So that's another way legally for you to get to that point.
Mm.
But that takes action and that takes being serious about it and not just complaining. You can sit and talk, trash all day, but that's a way to actually get action done. You're gonna have to implement it. And the way to do that is economically.
Yeah, economically, and you have to care. At the end
Yeah,
of the day, you have to care for you to come together, unionize. You got to care, right?
for sure.
Uh, Something else in DR. Actually didn't send this to you, but I want to go over it. It's their trade with Puerto Rico expands. So exports grew by 5.8% in 2024. Key exports include food products, textiles, and industrial goods. Puerto Rico remains a top trading partner due to proximity and strong economic ties. Um, so yeah, this is something else that's been happening in DR. 5% growth in 2024. Um, yeah, what do you think about this?
I think that trend should continue. Obviously, culturally, language, everything. We're so
Right.
closely related. It's like I said, it's literally like cousins, basically. We talk trash about each other, but we live right next to each other everywhere we go. So, but it'll continue to grow. I think it would grow at a much higher rate if we didn't have the Jones Act.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother conversation for Puerto Rico. If you didn't have to ship it to Miami and then come from Miami to Puerto Rico, then that probably would be, we could probably increase that even more. But,
Isn't
you
that
know,
absolutely insane that
that's wild, isn't it? That's wild, isn't it?
people don't realize that you got
Any
to go to
miles. You just,
Miami.
yeah, it's
So you
got to
said it's
go.
70 between DR and Puerto Rico?
Yeah. hmm
That's wild.
So instead, you got to go hours the opposite direction. Go to Miami, port in Miami, get stamped by customs, and then you ship it to
Mm.
San Juan or the ports,
And
whichever.
even with them doing all that, they're still a top trading partner with them.
Exactly. So imagine the efficiency and how much you could increase if you didn't have to do that. It'd be massive amounts of trade between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico just from proximity, culturally, everything, right? Just
Mm.
makes sense. They're a very strong agricultural
Yeah.
basis right there. They do well agriculturally, which Puerto Rico could do the same, obviously, but we have other problems. We're talking about DR today. We
Yeah,
focus on DR.
I was gonna ask a question, but we'll circle back to
Yeah,
PR maybe next
yeah.
week. Look, we'll also say that hospitality sectors have seen a 9.4% increase. Hotel sector growth, new luxury developments, and economic tourism lodges contributed to the sector's expansion. Occupancy rates have hit record highs in 2024, and it created a lot more jobs in this sector as well. So again, a 9.4% increase in 2024.
And that's kudos again to people like Urban Teach that's out there that's, creating pathways for people from the states to understand and get a better understanding of how it is to own property, what it is to actually go and create some type of additional income, whether it be owning property or just owning a home that you want to live in out there, a second home, creating those pathways and connecting people from the island to people to the states. So man, kudos to her. Kudos to everybody that's doing a phenomenal job. I can't wait to see that interview, by the way, because now it's got my brain like, man, I wonder what he's gonna say. How's it? How does this and that?
Yeah, definitely. And look, we like you said, DR is like our cousins. We've got
Well,
love for DR, so we got to figure out a way to get out there and document some of this. What's going on out there? I know Urban Teach, she mentioned about a conference out there. Maybe we can make that happen, Latin Wealth at that conference. But yeah, I mean, this is DR is making some right moves.
so do you think like overall, this is, and I'll bring us in on this. Is DR further ahead than us in some aspects, or are we still ahead of them? And by us, I mean PR. Are we still ahead of them across the board when it comes to economics, culture? What do you think?
That's a good question. I think when it comes to like one of the things that pops out to me that they do really well is they trade well with other countries.
Yeah,
And that's something that's where behind the eight ball with that, obviously, right? Now,
yeah.
there's some things when you mention culturally, what do you mean by that?
I mean, I always thought in my brain, right, kind of the us being American and having kind of
Mm-hmm.
uh that extension or having that access to just hop on the plane and kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that New York to Puerto Rico connection, right? And the exchange of culture, the exchange of music, the exchange of all of that
Mm-hmm.
created kind of pushed to why, reggaeton got to where it was.
Right.
Fashion gets to the place it is, dance gets to it, right? So that's what I mean by that. But I kind of see I see DR catching up though.
No,
Like they're
yeah,
both huge,
yeah,
both
exactly. Dembo and they
huge
having their own sound, their
for
own
sure.
style and whatnot.
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, maybe this is just us being biased, but Puerto Rican culture. I'll tell you this one example, bro.
Yeah.
This will explain everything that I'm trying to
Go
articulate right
ahead.
now. I was in Japan, walking down some random alley, and they were blasting Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Yonenguni. Yeah, because he's singing Japanese at the end of the song.
Right.
Listen, I'm not. I mean, we kind of had a leg up, is what I'm saying. But I think that they are catching up. Now, I do think that they are ahead in the aspect, like you said, diplomatically,
Mhm.
of the way that they interact with other countries, innovations that they're working on there in DR, the freedom that they have to do research and development and then grow those relationships and things like that. I think they're ahead in that. Um, PR is, I mean,
And I even think,
we're ahead in some stuff, but I do
yeah,
think that it's coming. That it wasn't like a big gap, right? You
right.
would think
No,
like PR, and then it was more like, oh, okay, well, but now it's like, man, I don't know. It's getting closer, which is a
it
great thing for them.
it is, and even what they're also killing it at is agriculture as well.
Yeah.
Um, I think the gentleman, and his name is Pablo, he said that I think he said 90% of the fish that we eat in Puerto Rico is imported.
Wow.
I think he said 90% is from a
Wow.
different sea, a different ocean,
Wow.
and we got fishes all around us.
Wow.
I don't know how accurate that is, but even if it's, I don't care if it's 50%, 40%, we got everything we need right in front of us. Why do we need to go to a different ocean to get this fish?
It's a different conversation, man. Because you catch it and you can't sell it.
Yeah,
Whole another conversation.
yeah.
That's
Whole nother conversation. Yep,
That
yep.
makes
For
that
sure.
makes sense though, because if they catch their fish, they can eat it. They can eat the fish
Yeah.
that they catch. Yeah, for sure.
Mm,
Self-sufficient.
self-sufficient. That was a good question. That definitely made me think about what areas that what we do well and what they do well is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, and we're stronger, right? Like the union makes us stronger, right? Between the two. You bring us together and then we have the complete,
Hmm.
what we need, man. And that's we got to continue to fight. Look out for them. There's a massive amount of Dominicans that's in Puerto Rico as well. And we got to just continue to build that relationship, support them in the things that they need. They've supported us in the times past. It was a haven, a place where we could go, during some wars back in the day. Dean talked about some stuff, back
Hmm.
in the gap. Had some videos he was talking
Right,
about that.
right.
I think that the partnership continues to grow. The Dominican Republic, first and foremost, is going to continue to be um, a leader in tourism. It's a beautiful country, beautiful, right? Mountains, everything that you want in one place, and I think it'll continue to grow across the
Mm.
board. I'm looking to take a
Yep.
piece.
You said what?
I'm looking to take part in that.
Yeah, 100%. And we'll definitely keep you guys up to date on everything that's going on out there. We really want to make it a goal of ours to get out there this year, document, and be out there with the people, and have conversations with y'all as well. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you learned anything from this episode, do us a huge favor and share this with one other person that needs to be tapped into the Latin Wealth platform in 2025. And it's the Latin Wealth family. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace, guys.